Hello and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Sierra Designs, and today I have for you some whimsical artist trading cards. So let's jump right in. So to start, I always like to have my cardstock cut down to the right size, and the only rule in artist trading cards is that they have to be 2.5 by 3.5 inches. So I have two pieces of 80-pound Neenah cardstock here, and I've cut them down to the appropriate size, and then I'm going to use my Oxide inks to blend on the background. So for the Oxide inks, I have picked raspberry, squeezed lemonade, cracked pistachio, Mermaid, Lagoon, and wilted violet. This is my go-to rainbow blend for a really bright blend. That's kind of the colors that I have tend towards for a rainbow. And I also have a cloud stencil here, and I am using the little Make Art Station to hold the stencil. I didn't really want to tape it down or use like a pixie spray or anything on it because you're constantly turning it to get different clouds. So this is just the easiest way I've kind of found to use a stencil if you're going to consistently rotate it around. I don't know that I would do this if I was going to use like a glitz glitter gel or something like that. I might have to try it and see how well it worked. But for this technique where I'm kind of rotating the stencil every time I lay down some ink, I did think this would be the easiest way, rather than trying to tape it down. And I'm only going to show you this on one of the backgrounds. I'm not going to show you both just because they were done the exact same. So the same blending foam, same colors, same cloud stencil, everything's the same. It's just that I'm going to do it twice so that I have two cards to trade. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of artist trading cards. They're just a really fun way to kind of work in a smaller size. Sometimes I find like a A2 or a slimline or even a 5x7 can be a bit intimidating, and sometimes I just really want to work on a small scale. So I tend towards these ATCs. I think they're a lot of fun. So I have a stamp set here from Mama Elephant. This is the Unicorn and Rainbows stamps and dies. I'm going to use both, and I'm going to stamp out the same images twice. I am using Gink K Amalgam ink because I'm going to color them with Copic markers, but you could use any Copic friendly ink. That's just the one that I happen to have on hand. And I also use my Misti because I can. You don't really need it for this necessarily because, I mean, I'm stamping out the same images, and I only needed to stamp them once, really. I kind of did them twice, but the impression was pretty good the first time, so you didn't really need to stamp them out twice. And I kind of put my cardstock in there funny because I was too lazy to move the clouds off the door. So I'm just going to stamp 2 extra clouds so that I have 3 clouds on each card and 1 flying unicorn. Or I guess maybe that makes it a Pegasus. I'm not really sure, but we're going to jump into the Copic coloring, and I'm going to do the shadows first. So for my shadows, I am using N0, N1, and N3, and I kind of just lay the shadows anywhere anything falls on top of itself. So like the mane on the unicorn's head and the leg that's in front of the other leg or the tail on its back, that kind of thing. And I start with my lightest color just because that's how I'm more comfortable. It's completely up to you how you feel comfortable in this. That's just generally what I do. I've seen some like amazing Copic colorists that can start with the darkest color. I just get intimidated because Copic coloring, I'm not super comfortable with it yet. And I find that I can be heavy-handed. So if I start with my lighter color and then I kind of work my way back, I tend not to be quite as heavy-handed with it and then have to try to fix it. So that's just my preferred method of using the Copic markers. You do what's comfortable for you. There's no wrong way to do it. And you don't have to add a whole bunch of shadowing. That's just, I wanted a white unicorn or Pegasus, whichever, and I opted, so you needed to add shadows to make the white kind of stand out. So that was just kind of what I was thinking there. And now I'm going to use pastel colors for this rainbow on top of that background. So I'm going to use RV00, V01, Y00, B00, and G00. So those are all very pale colors, as you can tell based on the code of the numbers. And that's what I'm using for my rainbow. I wanted it to be pastel because the background is so dark. I didn't want the rainbow on my unicorn's mane and the clouds to kind of clash or blend in with the rainbow that I'd created in my Oxide blending in the background. So I opted to go a very pastel blend for this. And sorry, it's not a blend, it's just colors. There's no blending whatsoever outside of the shadows on the unicorn there. Otherwise, everything is just one solid color, and I'm kind of just putting them wherever I want to in rainbow color. They're just this is very Easter palette almost. But I thought the palette, the very pastel palette, really complemented the background that I have going on. And you can see that I'm putting it on the mane and the clouds. I am going to bring it in later and also do it on the wings. I didn't in the beginning because I thought I might do something different, but in the end I thought that instead of bringing in another color, because I have so many colors, as this is like a rainbow color, I didn't want to bring in extra color because I wasn't sure what I would have done to the wings there. So I just opted to use the exact same couple of colors on the wings and the horn, and then that's pretty much it. I did take the RV00 and I did like a little blush circle on the unicorn's cheek, and then I did bring in my Zero, the colorless blender, and kind of blended that out a little bit just so it wasn't quite so stark. And then here I have N6, and I'm going to do the hooves in the N6. It's just another gray. It's not super dark, but it's quite pretty, I think. And then I couldn't resist adding a little bit of shine to the background, so I did bring out my misting bottle with the perfect pearls, and I'm just going to splash that on with the wand from that little bottle. I just have it mixed up with some water, and then I'm just going to splash it onto the background just to add a little shine and shimmer as it dries, and then I think that looks quite pretty. And as I stated earlier, I do have the matching dies for this set. You could absolutely, if you don't mind fussy cutting, you could fussy cut these out, but because I actually own the dies for these, I do try to use them when I own them. So you see me here struggling to line them up. I do find that I have a heck of a time lining stuff up, though. I tend to try to line the die up, and then I usually can't get it so that the image is centered in the die. I guess I just need more practice, because I so rarely end up using the dies for anything, but that's okay. With this one I used the dies, and I think it turned out pretty well, and I'm just going to run that through my Gemini Go. This was before my Gemini died. I have some new information for you guys in the Gemini saga, if you want to hear about it. So I did cut out all of them, the 2 unicorns and the 6 clouds, and then I brought in I believe this is my Wink Stella. Is it my Wink Stella? I think that it is. It's a glitter pen. Whichever one you guys have is perfect. I'm pretty sure this is my Wink of Stella. And I'm just putting it onto the mane of my unicorn to add some extra glitter because I can't resist that shine. And I think that's pretty much the only place I put it. I am going to add some glitter to the clouds, but I'm going to do it in a different way. And then here I have a white gel pen just to add a little bit of a highlight. I like to run it across my finger before I bring it to the paper. I find that gets the ink moving again, and I find that then I'm less angry when I get it to paper and it doesn't work. That's just kind of a trick that's kind of worked for me anyway. I mean, it's going to be dependent on which pen you like to use. And then here I just have some Distress Collage glue, and I'm going to put it around the cloud, and then I'm sprinkling on, I'm pretty sure this is Rock Candy by Distress. It's a glitter, and I just kind of sprinkle that on top and then set them aside to dry. So then you guys, I don't know if you followed a little while ago that you knew that my Gemini Go has died, and I ordered a Gemini originally on Black Friday, and then the Crafter's Companion wouldn't ship to Canada, so they refunded my money, and then I found one on Amazon Canada, and I paid for it, and I ordered it up, and it was supposed to be here before Christmas, and then it didn't show up, and it still hasn't shown up, and now they're saying that they might just refund me my money, and I'm not going to get that one either. So apparently I'm not destined to get a Gemini cutting machine. At least that's how it feels at the moment. So I'll let you know how this saga turns out, but as of right now, this is New Year's Eve, the day that I'm recording this, so happy New Year's Eve to everybody. And then it's supposed to be delivered today, or it could theoretically be delivered Saturday, which is the 2nd of January. But I don't think that it will be, simply because of how mail has been going. So if it's not delivered on the 2nd, I will not be getting it. They will just refund me my money, and that will be all. So I'll let you know in my next video if it ever showed up or not. But yeah, so far I don't think it's going to show up. So everything has dried, and I'm just using my little jewel picker to kind of pick up the clouds. I found that was one of the easiest ways for me to do it, to get them flat on the cardstock there, rather than trying to pick them up with my nails with the glue sitting on top of them. And then a couple of them I am going to pop up. So some things I laid down flat, and then some things I brought in some foam squares to kind of pop them up. The unicorns will be popped up because I love the added dimension there, and then I think 2 clouds are going to be completely flat, and 1 cloud will also be popped up. And these are just like leftover squares that I have from a while ago. I'm not even totally sure what company made these. It might have been Stamping Up, but there are tons of amazing squares out there, foam squares out there. So whatever you have, by all means, use it. I'm a big believer in using what you have rather than having to buy everything brand new. I mean, it's hard not to kind of want to buy brand new things, but it's kind of good to use what you have in your stash, especially stuff like this, like foam squares and glue and that kind of thing. So I kind of jump around in what glue I'm using because it depends on what I've got or what I've got sent or what I have, or I kind of move around with my glue. So you can see that I just used the exact same distressed collage glue that I used to lay down that rock candy on those clouds to glue down the flat elements. And then I'm going to use the foam squares for anything else. And I do have some of the stuff hanging off of the side of the ATC. That's simply because I want it to feel like it's like a scene, like there's more going on outside of the scene that you just can't see. So that's the only reason I really did that. And I will bring in my shears and just trim that off. Just because you have to, like, the only, literally the only rule to an artist trading card is it has to be 2.5 by 3.5. And I have sleeves that I stick them in so that I can ship them to people when I do trades. But that's pretty much the only rule to that, so I try really hard to adhere to it, since it's the only thing that you need to adhere to. So I think that's pretty neat. If you guys have never tried artist trading cards, maybe you would consider trying it if you like this kind of smaller size. I think it's a lot of fun to flip through a book. I have a whole book of artist trading cards that I've traded with other people that I get to go and look at for inspiration and just the love of creating. So this is a close-up look of the 2 cards that I created. They are pretty much the exact same. And I'm just going to hold them up in the light. You can't quite see the glitter on the clouds, but in person it was quite stunning. So that is the video I have for you guys this week. If you consider subscribing, that would be amazing. I have new videos every Monday, and we're almost at a year of posting online, so that's pretty exciting. If you leave me a comment, leave me a like, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.